Hello everybody, MD Polo here, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be doing another one-take only video, so let's see how it goes. In front of you, you have 7 polymer wonders, and what I wanted to do is for us to walk through them and look at them through the eyes of someone that is not Rambo, somebody that has not been in the military for decades and had experience in special ops or 30 years of police work. And by the way, those guys that do have that experience, thank you very much for your service. But if you're a regular guy, if you're like me that just loves guns and has been around them perhaps all their life, perhaps you're new to the gun world, what do you look at and how do you make a decision? Now, you hear some YouTube reviewers, rightly so, say that we are in the golden age of firearms, and I agree with that statement, and that you hear that from Such00. And I want to say that I've learned a lot from other reviewers like 1776 or Bust, Big Johnson Guns and Gear, KS Gun Guy. They're just Honest Outlaw. Some of the guys that I watch their videos regularly, and they've taught me a lot. And if you haven't checked out their channels, please do. Also, I want to give a special thanks to Shoot Point Blank in Carmel, Indiana for their help and their support. It's a fantastic shop, so stop by and see them if you can, if you're in the area. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at 5 different areas: is the cost, the ergonomics, the total feel of the gun, the trigger, the accuracy, and which are the most enjoyable to shoot. And again, this is from the point of view of just an everyday guy. I'm not going to get into all the specifics and barrel lengths and materials and sights and all that stuff. Yes, we are going to talk about accuracy, but just from a point of view of a regular person. So let's start. What we have on the table, we have the SIG, the P320X Compact, the new one. We have the HK VP9. We have the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS. We have the APX, although I want to talk about the Centurion. This is the compact. The difference really being only that this holds 13 versus 15 rounds of the Centurion, but everything else is the same. We're going to talk about the FN 509 midsize, the M&P 2.0, where's that guy here? The M&P 2.0 compact, and the CC P10C over here. So I like all these guns a lot. Obviously, that's why they're sitting here on the table in front of you. And let's talk about price first. The most expensive gun on the table is the SIG. It just came out, the 320X compact. Next in line is going to be the HK VP9. At least here, the SIG is selling for $749.99. The HK VP9, again, these are all local prices, so you're going to find them cheaper perhaps at your store, maybe more expensive, maybe cheaper online. I'm just telling you what I can do here locally. So again, the HK VP9 is at $669.99. Then it's going to be the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS at $629.99. I'm just going to round it off because everything has a 99 cents on it. Next is going to be the APX Centurion at $560. Then the FN 509 midsize at also $560. Then second to last as far as price is going to be the M&P 2.0 compact over here at $550. And the least expensive gun on the table is going to be the CZ P10C at $499. So price-wise, you're looking at a delta of $250 between the most expensive gun being the SIG and the least expensive gun being the CC P10C. Now, the next thing you're going to look at, or at least that I did when I was just starting out with guns and learning my way around here, is how does it feel? A lot of shops are going to have the ability to not only hold them, but some have them in the rental counter and you can go shoot them. But if not, the first thing you do is you grab it and you see how it feels on your hand. And to me, the one of all of these, the one that feels the best in my hand, it's actually the M&P 2.0. So here you have it. There's something about the way the grip was formed, the texture just fits my hand perfectly. There's other things that I don't like about it, but as far as how does it fit in my hand, it just fits absolutely perfect. And for me, one of the things that is important is where are the controls located? And again, this is something that perhaps you can train out of or move your thumbs around or something. But if you hold the way I hold the pistol, if I hold it like this, the controls, none of the controls are in the way. So I like that a lot. So for me, the M&P 2.0 Compact is the one that feels the best in the hand, followed by the HK VP9. Now, the second most expensive gun on the table, but it feels really good. You can change the grip panels on the sides, you can change the back strap here, so it's a lot more customizable than any of the other guns on this table right now. It feels really good. Now, the thing about it is, for me, it's really big. It's the biggest gun on the table. So, but the other thing I don't like about it is, as I mentioned on the M&P, the controls are out of the way. With a VP9, the controls are right on my thumbs, on both thumbs. So when I shoot this one, I tend to ride the controls and the slide doesn't lock back. So I have to modify my grip or do something different so I'm not riding this. Next on the list is going to be, as far as air goes for me, is the CCP10C. This gun also just melts in my hand. And again, if you see the controls, for me, mid-sized hands, I have medium-sized gloves. When I hold it, none of the controls are in the way. So I would probably then put it, thinking about it, I would probably put this ahead of the VP9. But the CC feels great. The texture is wonderful. You can exchange the grip panel back here, the back strap, and it just feels great. Next on the list, it is the Beretta APX. So again, this is the compact. The Centurion just comes right around here. So your finger, I would have a full grip, even though it would be on the edge, but I would have a full grip. And the Centurion, with this extended beaver tail that is kind of square compared to the other ones, but it just feels really good in the hand. It feels secure, it just melts, it just feels good. And again, here you can see the controls. If you can see that, the controls are not in the way. My thumb just falls just short of it. And again, this is going to be personal experience because every hand is different. But for me, this just feels perfect. So really nice, the Beretta APX. Now it probably looks like the widest gun on the table, but it's not. It's an optical illusion because of the cuts and the serrations. Now, if you look at it from above, it does look like you could land an airplane here. But in reality, when you measure the width of the slide, and for example, you look at the Glock, the slide is thinner, but the overall width of the gun is where my thumbs are. This is the widest part of the body. This little protrusions here on the frame itself. So when you're looking actually at width of the overall gun, even though the slide is thinner on the Glock, the overall is almost negligible, the difference. So the APX does have a optical illusion of being bigger, but overall it really is not that big, much bigger than the other one. So Beretta APX would be next on the list. Then third from the bottom would be the FN 509 Compact. It's got really good aggressive texture, different textures on the front, on the sides, and on the back, so it fits good. Just in my hand, and this is just personal experience, in my hand, again, here I'm riding that control right here. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but my thumb is right on it, and it's got this sharp edge right here that sits right on my thumb. So it's just not comfortable. I'm not aware if you can modify it or anything else that could be done. I'm looking at guns that if you buy them right out of the box, what does it look like? How does it feel? How do I shoot them? But overall, a nice pistol as well. Then you got the Glock 19, Gen 5, MOS. Glocks, you like them, you hate them. It just feels, like everybody else tells you, like a brick. Now these are, since I have it in my hand, this is the MOS, of course, so you can mount the red dot, and the SIG also, you can mount the red dot. Disadvantage on the SIG is that when you remove the plate, you lose the back sight. The MOS, Glock, you have the advantage of retaining your rear sight, but I'm getting a little bit off topic here. To me, the Glock, it fits okay. It's very square, very much of a brick, but controls are out of the way for me, for my hand. It feels good, but I can take it or leave it. There's really nothing that excites me about that. And believe it or not, last is going to be the SIG, the new one, the P320X Compact. Everybody just makes so much of a scandal in talking about the grip and the new ergos and all that, and it feels good when you're just playing with it. But once you get down to business, and again, my thumbs are right on the controls, but also there's just so much gun on top of it. Up here, the bore axis that everybody talks about, I really don't know if it makes that big of a difference as far as the accuracy and your ability to shoot the pistol well. And let me backtrack a little bit. Just, I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but every gun here has been safety checked several times. So it is such a high bore axis here that I just can't get used to having so much mass up there. The only SIG that I really shot well has been the P365 and the 226 Legion MOS. The other SIGs I just can't get used to, so I'm not a fan of this. So the winner there for me, the way it fits on my hand, is going to be the M&P, followed by the VP9 and the P10C. Those are the top three. Now looking at triggers, let's talk about triggers for a little bit. For me, the trigger, the winner here is the HK VP9. It is a fabulous trigger here. The reset is right there. Pull it, it's crisp, it's almost no travel at all. It's right there. There's no sponginess, anything. It pushes enough your thumb forward, your finger forward on the reset. Just a really good trigger. It feels good together with a good ergos. I like this a lot, although it is big. Second on the list to me, I'm going to go back to the gun that I said that I didn't like the way it felt, but the trigger on this SIG 320X Compact is just out of this world. It's got the flat trigger. It's the only one in the table that has a flat trigger and is designed to break at a 90 degree. So if you look at it right here, it's got a ridiculously short, and then the trigger breaks right there. Very little travel. The reset is short. This gun shoots very soft, very flat. I like the way it shoots. I just don't like the way it feels. Also, the only complaint for the second most expensive, or the most expensive gun on the table, it just feels like plasticky. And I'm talking about the trigger. I'm talking about the action. When you're sitting here, listen. It's like a thump. It's not a crisp break like the other ones. It's like a plastic thump. You hear that? Thump. It just feels plasticky. It doesn't feel like an almost $800 gun in my hand. And that bothers me. I can put up with a lot of the other stuff, but when you shoot a regular 320 that you can buy for $400 and some, and the trigger, except for the flat trigger, which you can buy, it feels the same. It feels they both have that thump. It just, I don't know. So there's the SIG, but it does have a nice trigger, the way it resets and the way it pulls. To me, third on the list here is going to be the CCP10C. Again, it feels great in the hand. Boom, did you see? I don't know, it got away from me there. Did it a little too quick, but look. Crisp, short reset, almost no travel. Now, when they're brand new, you are going to get a little bit of squishiness. It's gritty, but that wore itself out. And now it's perfectly smooth. Ridiculously short reset, and it fires right there. Crisp, audible. I really like this trigger. Next on the list, we're going to have the Beretta APX. The Beretta APX, and I don't understand why more people don't look at this pistol. It's got a great trigger out of the box. The reset is right there, very little travel, little bit of a sponginess right there, and then it breaks. Very crisp, very audible. Very nice. I like this trigger. It's got the little safety dingus here, but it does go flat all the way in, almost making it a flat trigger, but it doesn't bother you. It just disappears. So very nice trigger on the Beretta APX. I like it a lot. Following the Beretta, we have the FN 509. Now the 509, the same as the M&P 2.0, they have this hinge trigger right here. So you got the reset there, but now we're going to look. It's got a little bit of a take up. It looks like the profile of a duck. But you go, here's the safety, the little safety levers there. That goes away, and now you can pull it. A little bit more, there's a lot more resistance than the other guns we've tried. The reset's going to be right there, a little bit more travel, a little gritty, but it's very positive. It is a hard wall. You have to really make an effort to push through it. And when we get to the accuracy part of it, that was an issue for me because you really have to push it. And again, I'm not the best shot in the world or the most experienced guy, but this, I was pulling shots trying to break through that wall. So FN 509, nice, but not a huge fan. Then we have the Glock 19. This is the MOS Gen 5, and being the Gen 5, it does have better triggers than the previous gens. It's got a little, a little spongy there until you get to the wall, but it breaks better than the other gens. There it is, very audible, very positive. There. So, I mean, what can I tell you? It's a Glock trigger, it's better than the others. Not crazy about it either. And to me, trigger-wise, the last on the list is going to be the M&P 2.0. Even though it's a big improvement from the 1.0, it's still not something I'm crazy about. Also has this almost like a duck profile here, not as pronounced, is more pronounced, I'm sorry, in the duck profile trigger of the FN, but also the hinge trigger. So you got the same thing as you do in the FN. Oops, sorry. There. So then the brake is right there. It's pretty close. It doesn't go too far on the brake. I'm sorry, on the reset. There it is. So again, it's spongy, it travels a lot. I've heard other reviewers say that they put the Apex triggers on this thing and then it's night and day and it turns this into a fantastic gun. I believe that. I don't do that. For the most part, I buy the guns and I just leave them the way they are. So last on the list of triggers is going to be the M&P. Now, accuracy, and this is just me, these guns in my hands, how do they perform? And the one that I'm the most accurate with is going to be the P10C. The way it fits in the hand, the way the trigger breaks, the way I can hold it without the controls being on the way at all. I like it a lot. I shoot it very, very well. Next on the list is going to be the SIG P320 X Compact. So funny how a gun that I'm not crazy about the way it feels in the hand, and I'm not crazy about how high that slide is, that bore axis, is the second one that I shoot the most of the guns on this table. And I'm sorry, not the most, the best. Second best. So is there an argument there to say that bore axis doesn't really have anything to do with accuracy? I don't know. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough to argue either or for. But I'm telling you that you have a gun with a very low bore axis like the CCP-10C and a gun like the SIG that has a very high bore axis, and I shoot them both very, very well. Next is going to be the M&P 2.0. So figure that. The gun that I like the trigger the least, but the ergos the most, it's actually third on my list of accuracy. So 2.0 from M&P, really like it, shoot it. It's a little snappier than the other ones, but I shoot it well. Next is going to be the Beretta APX. I really like the way this gun shoots. It's very flat. Now this one is definitely point of aim, unlike a Glock, at least for me, that is 6 o'clock hold. But this is a very flat shooter. To me, it is the softest shooter of the 7. It's a pleasure to shoot. You can sit there all day plinking with this thing, and it's not going to bother you. It's got the right texture on the grips. I like it a lot. This is a very comfortable gun to shoot. And like I said, of the 7, it's probably the softest and the flattest shooting gun. After the Beretta, for me, accuracy is going to be the HK VP9. I have to modify my grip a lot in order to stay away from the controls. Oops, sorry, I was completely off camera there. So even though you can modify the ergos and the trigger is really nice, I just don't shoot this gun very well. Then comes the Glock 19. Glock is a Glock. Yes, you can shoot them. It fits well in the hand. I am not the most accurate with these stock sights. It does have the MOS, and when you put a red dot on this, that's a game changer. Because then you just hit the red dot and you can plink all day. But as we're looking at them here, stock, that's where the Glock fits for me. And let's see, what did I miss? I think that's all of them. Oh, no, the FN. So that makes the list there. So now let's talk about which is the most enjoyable gun to shoot. Of all the guns on the table, how do I enjoy them and which one would I take to the range the most? And if you didn't see it coming, based on my comments, the gun that I enjoy shooting the most out of all of these is actually the Beretta APX. And I wish that Beretta would get more credit for it and that more people would give the APX a try. It's not as big as you think it is. It's got great serrations all the way across. It's got the rail. It's got good texture. It's got almost a flat trigger that is very comfortable. It's the flattest shooting of all of them for me, and it's really not much thicker than a Glock 19 Gen 5 when you measure it to the widest point of the frame. The slide is thicker, but to the widest point of the frame, Glock to APX is not that much different. Beretta APX, I think it's a fantastic gun and my favorite one on the table to shoot. Right after that comes the the CC P10C. I love shooting this gun. It's a tack driver for me. It comes with night sights and the great trigger, good ergos. Now this is a little aggressive for me. On the black one that I have, I put Talon grips on it because after you shoot it for a while, that grip it really starts to rub on you. I just squeezed it right now, and I don't know if you can see my hand and how it leaves the print mark. So, but I love shooting this gun. It is a comfortable gun. Aside from the texture, it is not too snappy. It's got front serrations, night sights like I mentioned. It's got the rail, although it only has one slot, but overall a good gun, and it makes it number 2 on the list of my most enjoyable guns to shoot. Third is going to be the SIG P320 X Compact. Now, yes, it feels like plastic. Yes, I think it's expensive for... I believe that a lot of what they're selling this gun on is cosmetic only. If you really look at it, it is cosmetics, in my opinion. And to pay $750 for a gun that basically has the same feel and accuracy as a regular 320, I don't know. I have a problem justifying this. I mean, I have it in my hand, but would I do it again? Probably not. Having said all this, if you just shoot at the range and you just go out there and not prejudge the gun and just shoot it, it is accurate and it is very comfortable to shoot. It's got the long beaver tail, so it helps you control the recoil as it's coming back. It also has the red dot, although here you do lose the back sights when you install a red dot. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, you don't lose them on this Glock. So here you go. Next on the list is going to be the HK VP9. Soft shooter also, not like the other ones, but I enjoy this gun a lot. I enjoy shooting it. Now let me backtrack on that one a little bit because I am not the most accurate with it. It actually was last on my list of accuracy. But it is fun to shoot. It is a nice balance between a soft shooter and comfortable ergos. So it is fun to shoot. I am not the most accurate with it. Next on my list is the Glock 19 MOS Gen 5. With the standard sights that it has, I am not the most accurate with it. And I'm comparing with how they sit on the table. If you put the red dot like you can on the SIG, again, a different conversation altogether. If you change the night, you put different sights on it, you put Ameriglows on it, or whatever you're comfortable with, that also changes the story. The way it sits here on the table, although I like shooting it, it feels okay, it's a Glock. As they sit on the table, it is, it's not something I get overly excited about shooting. Next to last is going to be the FN 509. To me, it's a bit snappy. Although the texture on the grips, it feels like the gun doesn't go anywhere. It's going to be perfectly seated in your hand. But like the P10C, it's a little too much. It starts to wear on my hand after a while. And together with it being a bit snappy, I don't know. There's something about this gun, for me, that I don't enjoy shooting it very much. And then last on the list, as far as enjoying shooting, is going to be the M&P 2.0 from Smith & Wesson. It really doesn't make too much sense because if you look at my other categories, it is one of the least expensive guns. It does have, on my list, the worst trigger for me. but it also did have the best ergonomics on it. It was number 3 in accuracy, but I have it on my list as the last, in the last place as far as enjoying shooting it. Why is that? Well, it is very snappy. It fits well in the hand, but to me, it's a very snappy gun. And in this category, we're just talking about enjoying shooting it. Okay, I'm very accurate with it, and I can, just with it, like the P10C, I can tack drive this one, but I'm not enjoying shooting it. But I did enjoy the P10C. So, not enjoying shooting this very much, although it's a fantastic gun, the ergos are great, and I'm very accurate. Does that disqualify you from owning it? Probably, of course not. So I'm going longer than I have in any video, but there are 7 guns on the table. I hope that as someone that is just looking at guns, or like Such00 likes to say, you were in the golden era of firearms, which we are. Where do I start? What do I look at? You got all these guys telling you, oh, I was a Navy SEAL, I was this, I was that, and this is how you look at a gun. Well, I don't have that experience, and I'm never going to shoot like those guys. So how do I look at a gun? What do I buy? So if I were to go out and do it again, out of all these guns on the table, my number 1 choice would be the Beretta APX. My number 2 would be the CCP10C. And my number 3, and this is a tough one, but it would probably be the Glock 19 MOS Gen 5, simply because of the availability of parts, the ability to carry a red dot if I chose to do so, the fact that I don't lose the co-witnessing capabilities. And I think that I would go my top 3, that would be it. It would be the Beretta number 1, CCP10C number 2, and the Glock 19 MOS, not the regular Gen 5, but the Gen 5 MOS. So there you go, guys. I rambled for about 35 minutes, and I've never done a video this long. Again, it was all done in one take, so forgive the speed bumps along the way. I want to thank you for your patience, for your time, for sticking around and watching this. And if you feel compelled to press the like button and the subscribe button, I would truly appreciate it. Have a fantastic day, and God bless until the next one. Please leave some comments in the bottom. What would be your top 3, your top 7, whatever? What do you think about this list? What would you add? What would you change? And perhaps I will make another video, but with single stacks. Until then, God bless.